Rodrigo gave an interview yesterday that caused controversy when asked about the possibility of Vinicius Jr. winning the Ballon d'Or. He used past awards to directly state what many already know but are afraid to comment on regarding the criteria for this award. He acknowledges that for Brazilians, it's a bit more difficult, isn't it? Stay tuned until the end, as we'll show the Brazilians' words on the subject in detail, and I'd like to know your opinion on all this controversy. Indeed, folks, it seems that the more Brazilians get excited about Vinicius Jr.'s chance of winning the Ballon d'Or, especially after seeing Real Madrid fans chant Vini Ballon d'Or on 2 different occasions. In many places, the situation still occurs completely oppositely. For those who don't follow closely, yesterday Bellingham was named the best player of the Spanish league season. That's understandable, considering the Englishman had an impressive start to the season, while the Brazilians spent a few weeks injured at the beginning. However, the real astonishment came later when Marca, one of Spain's most influential newspapers, published the league's selection without including Vinicius Jr. How is it possible that the player considered the favorite to be the best in the world currently isn't even in the selection of a national league? It's surprising to realize that, except for Real Madrid fans, Vini still faces many obstacles in Spain. Essentially, it has been demonstrated that, except among Real Madrid fans, Bellingham has a better reputation than Vinicius. Interestingly, Jude Bellingham gave an interview this morning and, when asked about the Ballon d'Or, reaffirmed for the 3rd time in the last few weeks that, in his opinion, Vinicius is the one who should win. Here's what he said. "I've always thought that the Ballon d'Or and these awards are intended for forwards or extraordinary players who can entertain the public, and there's no one better than Vini in that regard. I've mentioned before, when he's at his best, I consider him the best player in the world. I know what he said about me, and that's the kind of relationship we have. You don't need to be friends with your teammates, but it certainly helps with mutual understanding, which is reflected on the field. We understand each other's movements very well. To be honest, he's the one who deserves to win. I would be extremely pleased if that happened because it would mean I contributed to that achievement." Indeed, even Bellingham agrees that Vinicius should win. Another point that is hindering the Brazilian is the recent praise from various personalities in support of his teammate Toni Kroos. Thiago Bernabeu last Saturday, Modric expressed his wish to see him win because he is his great friend. On May 15th, Ancelotti also mentioned that he would like to see the German win due to his performance last season and emphasized that if he were to win the Champions League and the Euros this year, this possibility would be quite real. It's undeniable that the Euros have a significant impact and can wield considerable influence. However, it's crucial to consider Vini's participation in the Copa America, where he also has the potential to shine. Furthermore, in the Champions League, he has stood out more than any other player. Even in the event of a possible defeat for Real against Borussia on Saturday, Vini's exceptional performance will establish him as the best player in the tournament. So, what I want to convey is that Europe is sending a clear message. If there's even a slight opportunity to take the Ballon d'Or away from Vini, we'll seize it, whether it's with Bellingham, Kroos, Mbappe, among others. That's why, in yesterday's interview, Rodrygo spoke openly. He stated that he and Vini know they face more difficulties. Do you think they can make it? Maybe this season, perhaps, the big moment, the crowning of Vinicius Jr. Yes, definitely. He knows that for us it's a bit tougher, right? We always have to do a little more than others, but he's doing very well, especially now. Of course, for us, maybe because of everything he did last season, it wasn't. I say for myself too. Seeing others ahead of me was a bit strange, you know? So, I think we're aware that we need to do a little more, always a little more. And, speaking of Vini, he's doing very well, especially towards the end of this season. We know the Ballon d'Or is up for grabs, right? Messi and Cristiano are no longer in the game, so someone needs to fill that spot, and he, with what he's done in the semi-final as well, has positioned himself well in a quite favorable position, I believe. We hope to continue like this, keeping up the pace. Of course, there are many variables at play, like the Champions League final, the Copa America, and the Euros, all capable of greatly influencing. But let's wait and see. I have a friend I play with regularly, both at the club and in the national team, so the better he does, the better for me too. It's important to maintain that rhythm. However, the challenges might be greater for South Americans and foreigners in general. And for young black, famous, wealthy, and talented individuals, the path might be even tougher. I can't pinpoint exactly for whom it's harder, But speaking of last season, perhaps there was a lack of a bit more dedication, you know? That's my opinion, but I believe many share it too. If the performance had been a bit better, who knows? That's it. That's the essence, right, Rodrigo? I think so, it could be. Maybe the Champions League final will be crucial in determining who will be the next Ballon d'Or winner. We have Vini, of course, but also Bellingham, you, and other competitors in the mix. Do you think performance in this final could heavily influence the decision? Certainly adds a lot of points. However, as I mentioned, the Copa America and the Euros could also be decisive. It's hard to predict now. And it all depends a lot on the judging criteria, whether it's based on titles, goals, or actual performance on the field. It's a confusing situation even for you guys, isn't it? As noticed, Rodrygo expressed an insightful viewpoint, highlighting both the influence of the Euro and the Copa America and the additional difficulty faced by South American players. He brought up a truth often left unspoken publicly. Note that, except for Messi, European players seem to have an unfair advantage in the race for the Ballon d'Or, especially in years like this one, with the presence of Mbappe and Jude Bellingham representing European powerhouses in the Euros. Therefore, it's fair to say that Vinicius Jr. has been unlucky this year. Every 4 years, only the Champions League and national championships are determining factors for the award. In the other two, events like the Euros, Copa America, or World Cup have a significant impact. Unfortunately, Vinicius stood out precisely in a year marked by the Euros and Copa America. Will the committee have the courage to deny the award to the Brazilian, considering his performance in the Champions League? Especially now, with the qualifiers taking place during the season. It's a question to ponder. After Rodrigo's strong statements on the matter, the social media community expressed admiration for his courage in speaking openly. For instance, one comment praised, "Congratulations, Rodrigo, for having the courage to speak out." Another user expressed, "Last year was shameful for the Ballon d'Or. Seriously. Seeing Jesus Navas ahead of Vinicius was absurd." Another even stated, "I hope he shines in the Copa America. If Brazil wins with Vinicius playing well, he deserves the Ballon d'Or." While another comment pondered, "Just dribbling and playing beautifully aren't enough. Vinicius started shining in the last 2 months." For comparison, Harry Kane has 46 goals and 11 assists, twice the goals of Vinicius. Messi dribbled and scored many goals, over 40. Now, I want to hear your opinion on this controversy. My opinion is that both Kroos and Bellingham are fiercely competing with Vinicius and deserve to be considered as strong contenders. The justice of the victory will depend on each one's performance over time. It's interesting to note that many people are considering both, especially because the Euros haven't happened yet. In my view, it's important to evaluate not only individual talent but also the impact of each player on the team's performance and in major competitions. Comment below what you think. Until the next video.